Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another lunchtime stream, episode 18, I believe. Not bad. Not bad. Hello,
Yeah,
Jose.
we're still in it, Neil. We're still in it.
We are still in it. And today is actually a very, very good day in the stock market, especially if you are an Intel shareholder, I would say.
Boo!
I think it's the only green stock at the moment.
Is it, Neil? I thought we had some other greens today.
Yeah, we have. Berkshire is green, but Intel is up 15, 16%.
Yeah.
So
I mean, but Nvidia's up 0.35%. You know.
I think it's up now just 0.18. So boo.
Well, first, like you mentioned, Neil, welcome to everybody. Welcome, Matthew. Who else? We got Ernest, we got Ariel, we have Victor, we have Mark, we have Couch, that's you. We have Zork, and my music spot, Midwest. So appreciate all the support, right, Neil, from everybody on both channels.
Yeah, especially during these days. I mean, we know it's much more fun when everything's going up and green, and when things are red, not that great. But yeah, that's why we invest for a long run. Short term, things can be very, very volatile. It's not the first time we've gone down. Won't be the last time either. So yeah, a couple of things we wanted to discuss today. We've got some AI news, some earnings news as well. You want to start off with the big one, the new Intel CEO?
Yeah, I mean, Neil, I think you should. This is, and what you own it, so I think you can maybe tell everybody and laugh and be smiling while Intel shares are up a nice amount today.
Yeah, so Intel yesterday announced their new CEO. We both did videos about that, talked about that, but it's someone that's familiar with Intel. It's someone that's very familiar with the semiconductor industry. Lip Bhutan has been a CEO of Cadence Systems for 13 years, from 2008 up until 2021, and then he was part of the board and an advisor at the company. He was also a part of the board of Intel for 2 years until August 2024. He left because, well, the reports say because, well, there were some disagreements there. He thought they should have done more cuts, especially mid-management, which, if I'm being honest, is the right thing to do. And that's why I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see even more cuts now that he's CEO. During his time at Cadence, huge turnaround. Stock was up, I don't know, 4,000% or so when he was there, from the lows in 2008 up until 2021. And then, of course, it went even higher after that. But to me, it's a very good thing. I mean, the market is liking it. One, because well, uncertainty is now gone. Although there are still some question marks, right? 18As, it's still on track. Although based on one post on LinkedIn, it does seem like it is. But at least now we know that the CEO is not a finance bro or MBA or whatnot. It's someone from the semiconductor industry with a lot of experience. So I'm happy. Stock is up 15, 16%. So I guess the market is happy with that as well, especially on a day like today.
Yeah, and Leo, one of the things that I thought was going to be very difficult for again, I don't own Intel, but I do believe the CEO was kind of like their best decisions. One of the things that I thought was going to be very interesting to see with Intel's new CEO is, were they going to be coming in from more like the design side of things, or kind of like the fabless side or the manufacturing side. And we kind of heard rumors that maybe Global Foundry CEO was going to come in, and I felt like he was going to come in and if he was, he would probably focus more on on the manufacturing side. And while when you think of Cadence, right, or all these EDAs, you think more of just like a design company, and many people might just say, "Hey, this is going to be one that's going to focus more on their core products and just like the technology node." These EDA platforms are the actual bridge between the design and the manufacturing, because you have to be able to work with both to be able to make sure that that design software works well with the type of node that you're kind of designing in. So to me, this one, if you, again, you think of Cadence, you think of just design, so you might kind of just focus on their core product. But I believe this CEO is someone that has really good interactions with both sides. So if they want to keep Intel together, I think this was probably the best decision, because Cadence, right? You need that software. You need to know how that manufacturing node works for Intel 18A or for TSMC's 3 nanometer or 2 nanometer and 2 and 4 and 3, whatever they have. So to me, what I really liked, Neil, was that it's a perfect middle ground for both of Intel's core products.
Yeah, and I think even if in his message to Intel shareholders and employees yesterday, he touched on that. He touched on the product side, touched on the foundry side as well. And it's funny because yesterday we also had another report talking about joint venture, right? TSM, AMD, Nvidia, Broadcom, and it wouldn't surprise me. And I think we've talked about that in the past. A joint venture would make sense. It's not a complete sell of that company, complete split off. A joint venture where TSM probably gets close to 50%, but not over 50%. So it doesn't go against US policies and whatnot. It's still an Intel owned, a US owned company, but the joint venture would make way more sense than, in my opinion, just splitting it off or selling it to another customer. So we'll see, but he's definitely the type that they needed for both sides of the business.
And agreed. It's Matthew says he thinks he will take risk and try to do things that make sense, aka not try to compete with Jensen. And I think this is one of the, I guess we still have uncertainty with Intel, especially with this new leadership style, to see where he wants to progress. But I think in the long terms, it's better than having at least two people that already have full-time jobs. One was the CFO and one's the CEO of Intel core products. At least they can now go back to focusing on their own products. And now we have someone kind of just driving the ship. And I think that alone is a huge plus when you don't want multiple drivers, right?
No, I agree. Also, now, if there are going to be conversations, at least you can have conversation with the CEO, not with the current two co-CEOs that will definitely not be there for a long time. Now you have a permanent CEO that will be discussing with strategic partners, with the government, and et cetera, et cetera. So things, in my opinion, will be going much faster right now. And yeah, I think he also said we should focus on our strength. If we're strong in one segment, should continue to accelerate that. If we want to compete in others, we should see how we can compete and then not just compete, but try to leapfrog it. Of course, I think 18A is that product, right? They're not trying to compete with what has happened last year. They're already looking at what's going to happen in 2026, especially when it comes to TSM. That's not to say that they will not rely on TSM. They will continue to do so, which makes sense. So yeah, exciting times. Still some question marks, but definitely exciting times.
Let's see any questions coming in, and to everybody watching, feel free to just post any comments or thoughts. Doesn't just have to be questions. But let's see. So here, tomorrow is so important, guys. Very, very careful if you buy, sell shares. There are huge put options will close tomorrow. I'm guessing we're going to get some form of other macro economic news tomorrow, Neil. Like I say, normally I have my head in the semiconductor sand, so I don't really know. I almost forgot what day today was.
So I don't know what's happening tomorrow, but today we had a PPI report. Yesterday we had CPI report. Both came in better than expected. So that was good news. Good news. It's not bad news. So at least there is that. I think overall, right now, of course, still no major impacts of tariffs because the number that we're getting today are numbers from what happened in the past. Did also see that egg prices went down. I don't know what's up with the egg prices. You just have more chickens, more eggs, and then the problem is solved. But I guess when you kill a lot of chickens, then you get less eggs. Gas prices are coming down, which definitely helps everything because low energy prices does impact almost everything. So that's also good. Recession, right? Everybody's talking about a recession. We'll see, right? A recession by definition is 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. To be honest, two quarters, that's 6 months. We'll see what happens in the next 6 months. It's not the end of the world.
Definitely, Neil. Got some JRS or juniors. I'm new to this crazy time to get into investing. Well, I mean, I think the crazy time is the best time. Welcome to the investing journey. It's always crazy. There's always something happening in the market. Even when things are quiet, it's still crazy. So just take this time to learn. I mean, I felt like I'm still learning, and I've been investing for over a decade already. And yeah, it feels like find good people to talk to. Find people. It's okay to disagree with things. You don't always have to surround yourself with yes people or people that agree with your investments. It's also great to kind of surround yourself with people against your investment because you can learn from everybody, right? So welcome crazy times, and I hope you stick to this ride because sometimes, Neil, right, new investors come in, they lose out a little bit of money, they didn't learn much, and then they think the stock market is the worst thing ever, where it can definitely it's the wealth builder. Right? I've amount of wealth that has come for me has been really pretty much thanks to the stock market.
No, I agree. I agree. I mean, it's always, I've seen a lot of those comments, especially in the last couple of weeks, like, oh, the destroyer of pension funds, of 401ks, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's not the first time that we're seeing pullbacks in a matter of weeks. But I mean, if you look at what has happened in the last 5 years, S&P basically doubled, more than doubled. And you can see those bumps on the road, right? We have seen plenty of pullbacks. So short term, lots of noise, right? The media loves lots of noise because that means you just click and click and click. Long term, this is definitely when you want to take your opportunities. And I did check, and yeah, on Friday we have the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment. Big freaking deal, if I'm being honest here. Big deal. These surveys, as we've spoken about that in the past, and Tom Lee also said that there are some surveys that can be manipulated from both sides, right? One survey heavily Democratic, the other one heavily Republican. And so one side will say, oh, everything is bad. The other side will say everything is good. And then you go back 2 months ago or 3 months ago when there was someone else in office, the sentiment is basically flipped on its head, which is it's data manipulation, but it is what it is. Hopefully, the Fed doesn't really pay attention to that, but pays attention to actual real data. So we'll see.
Yeah. Neil, I'm gonna just take this personal question from OPG. Hi, Jose. Do you speak Spanish? Yes, I do. If you do, would you consider creating a Spanish channel in the future? Um,
Or in the
there isn't,
futuro.
and then futuro, yeah, there isn't too much in Spanish. I wish I could OPG. I mean, um, it would just be too time intensive for me. And right now I'm just pretty much doing what I do right now, enjoying the time with my little one. Maybe if I have to see, maybe AI can make it a lot easier for me. Um, but at the moment, I have no thoughts of opening up and starting more work for myself.
I
Hopefully,
did.
caps can happen in Spanish though for in YouTube channels.
I did think about that, but then since we are doing finance stuff, I don't know if the translation would be so accurate. Um, like metrics and specific terms, I don't know if that will work, but maybe in the future it will. It would be way easier.
And what I was saying, my Spanish is probably like very low level. Um, so I'll be using very basic terms for everything. Rojas, hola, Jose, papas fritas para todos. Yes, exactly. I'm actually pretty hungry right now.
Yeah, yo como una manzana. This is my Duolingo lesson of the day.
Neil, there was a pretty cool question that I want to take. You who owns both Intel and AMD, I want to hear your thoughts on this one. Someone, I missed it, but it was like, it's good news for Intel, bad news for AMD.
Good news for Intel, bad news for AMD. No, I don't think so. Because, I mean, we're now in a growing market. AMD has been taking a little bit of market share from Intel. Intel is trying to win back their market share and defend the market share in enterprise and server. AMD trying to take market share from Nvidia. So it's like one does one to the other, and he wants to go to the next one. So no, I don't think so. I don't think good news for Intel is bad news for AMD. I think both can grow. Both can grow. Nvidia can grow as well, right? I know I've been talking about AMD, but Nvidia at 90% market share, of course, it makes sense that it could lose a couple of percent in the future. You're still above 80%, which I think is still quite something in a growing market. So no, I don't think good news for Intel is bad news for AMD unless AMD suddenly stops innovating and stops growing, and the execution goes to zero, which I highly doubt, will happen. It's just that good news for Intel, sentiment was already so bad that good news is good news, which is why the stock is up 15, 16% finally.
Yeah,
And up this year as well.
and Neil, I mean, I think you mentioned really well. Each of them have their own segments that they can also grow outside of competition, while they might kind of compete in certain areas where you kind of have Intel with the foundry push. No one else out of like AMD doesn't do any foundry. And who knows, in a potential world where AMD, Intel does really good, you could even have AMD being a customer in there. You also have kind of AMD focusing in a lot of embedded and client side, while Intel, even though I forget if they sold off their FPGA, if they're planning on selling off their FPGA business, but at the moment, it seems like they're just really focused on kind of their CPU space for server and clients and laptops, and the overall kind of manufacturing. While AMD can focus in some other avenues, and same with NVIDIA. Everybody has things that they overlap and things they can grow outside of it as well.
Yeah, so they will be IPOing that side of the business, from what I understood, and that's how the value gets created. So yeah, which makes sense.
Just another personal question here. I guess my personal life is just so popular right now, Neil. Jose Najarro, are you in the US? Yes, Jersey. Jersey all day.
The armpit of the United States, I've heard.
You could say that, I guess.
um, did you have a look at Adobe's earnings yesterday?
I honestly, Neil, I've only seen kind of like top level overview thoughts of it. And from what I'm seeing, it I don't see any reason for the sell off. I didn't really. I saw that maybe some analysts were kind of making it seem like AI was more of like a defensive play um for it, or for Adobe, opposed to like a growth opportunity. And I do believe that's the case. I don't think I thought we kind of left those expectations where AI was going to be a massive grower for Adobe. I think it's going to be more where it increases its core products and increases its moat even stronger because it has a lot of data, and it'll be able to increase kind of free cash flow and stuff like that in the long term of things. But I don't think the market likes that right now. I think they believe that AI is either going to um, destroy Adobe with all these other startups, or and it's being confirmed because this company is not seeing much growth from it. But I think it's an overreaction. I own Adobe, and I talked about it unfortunately on one of the full platforms recently. If not, I would be have increasing my position on this one.
Okay. No, I think the quarter. I think this was a record quarter yet again. So clearly they're growing. Might not be growing as fast as previously expected. Clearly they're growing. I think guidance was again mixed guidance, let's say. And the story here is definitely still on the generative AI monetization side of things, and that's going to be the story for the whole year with Adobe. Whether we're going to see some positive results remains to be seen. But so far, if you look at the data, I know there has been a lot of conversation about Adobe. Oh, generative AI, this and that will destroy the business. So far, I don't see that happening at the moment. Could happen, right? It could get hurt. Also, the fact that maybe they cannot really monetize their AI credits could also hurt the business in the long run. Question marks, but so far, the business does not get destroyed. They generate billions in free cash flow a year. So we'll see. I don't hold a position, so I can talk about it freely. um, but yeah, it was an interesting one. Another one was UiPath yesterday, and I think I'll just share the same thing again and again. Acquisition target. I think it's done. What was it? 16 to 20% last time I checked. Okay, quarter. Retention rates are fine, 110% if I remember correctly. But this is not a growing story anymore that much. This has become in my eyes, a good acquisition target for whoever has that cash.
Neil, did you listen to the Adobe's call? Did they talk? Or have you read that transcript?
I did not. I
No.
just quick search here
Glance,
for a
yeah.
couple of terms. Yeah, I
Because
was
I
too
would love
busy
to see.
celebrating.
It's true. It's risky celebrating into. Yeah, because I know we kind of talk a little bit about the AI credit monetization. I want to see if they gave any update to that. So that's something. Adobe is one of those stocks that I. There's certain stocks, Neil, that I believe AI is crucial for like the news to be for me to listen to earnings almost on a daily basis or to kind of keep up with it. I think with Adobe is one of those players that a quarter is not going to be a make or break quarter for it. So I can take my time with the earnings call. But just on the top level view, it didn't look like anything crazy. How is UiPath doing, Neil? Is the stock up? Is down
The stock
14%?
destroyed.
Yeah. What is curious about this one, Neil, is again, I think we talked about it. I think UiPath had that opportunity with AI agents, or still has the opportunity with AI agents. I know we talked about it last earnings call. I didn't read this earnings call, but with AI agents, that's something that's starting to become a little bit more popular. Maybe back then they didn't really talk about it much because the tech wasn't there, but maybe with the tech getting there a little bit better, maybe we can really see this kind of grow. Maybe one needs to be patient. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little optimistic. But as we see more innovations in AI agentic, I would expect, again, I haven't listened to it, but I would expect this company to discuss more about AI agents because, I mean, they're core products, which is that automated robotic software solution stuff, seems like a perfect fit for AI agents. So if there's one to somewhat lead in it, it could be them. It's one that if I was to enter, that would have to be my core thesis, and I would have to really understand where they're going with that direction. Because there's a lot of players competing right now with AI agents. So I would love to, if I was buying UiPath, I would want to understand what is their path going forward with AI and really understand where they stand, especially with competition.
Yeah, and I think that was also one of the comments that were made talking about competitive landscape and uncertainties, etc., etc. But yeah, I mean, it's priced okay, right? It's not that expensive. PE and all of that's not that expensive. But then again, there are plenty of more exciting companies out there, I would say. So, in my eyes, UiPath acquisition target, it would make more sense.
Yeah, I agree, Neil. Unless you're really bullish on that AI agent thesis, and if they really sell that to you, then I think that that could be a reason. But I don't think I would ever make it a big position. I think unless I really understood that industry.
Yeah.
Um, let's see, Neil. I thought we had a pretty interesting one. We have the link. NVIDIA is losing fuel. Um, Neil, I thought I was going to have a break. I really did. But next week is already GTC. I can't believe it's happening this quickly. I think Tuesday we get the keynote already. So back to the grind. I thought I was going to take a few days off, but I don't think I'm doing that anytime soon.
Yeah, no, GTC. I thought it would be. I don't know what's in May. In May is the quantum stuff, I guess.
I'm not sure. May that would be just their next earnings, but during GTC they're also going to have a quantum day, so it's
Okay.
March 18th. GTC Madness.
Yeah, I've been receiving some emails because I signed up for it. And like every time I receive an email, I'm like, oh, maybe I got an invitation, but no, it's just marketing and information stuff. No, it's going to be interesting. Jensen, you can pump up the stock market if you want.
Neil, I think we talk about this every show, but is Google going to Lowe's 160s because of the company's breakdown rumors? I think this is the main thing affecting Google right now. Um, Obviously, you kind of have just the added volatility like every other tech space. But if you were to kind of put one main risk right now for Google, I think it would be this. Um, any thoughts there, Neil?
Well, it's a question, but Google is already at $162, so I guess that's the low 160s. Um, but yeah, it's uncertainty. But then again, does it really change that much? I don't think so. Like I just can't see a reason why they will be breaking up Google Chrome or anything else happening. The business is still doing well. It's still growing across the board. Market share wise, they're still doing quite well. So it's a steal, right? We talk about this every single time. I think this is really a steal. The Magnificent Seven as a whole have not been this cheap since 2017. So either they're going out of business or this is a no-brainer at the moment.
Yeah, and just quick shout out to Scott. Scott, he just became member here. So appreciate that, Scott. Um, Neil, we also had we were talking about kind of the credits here, and Nathan gave us some insight. It seems like sadly, there was they pretty much dodged the question about credits, and I'm gonna guess that can also be seen as an extremely bearish case for Adobe, and maybe they weren't getting the kind of traction that they were hoping for.
Yeah, no, I did search for a couple of words a couple of minutes ago, and they touched more on monetization of AI, and they explained that they're going to do that through subscriptions and attracting more people to specific subscriptions and Firefly and this and that, and not really focusing on what they said a couple of quarters ago, really specifically with AI credits, that you're going to use your AI credits, and then if you want to top up, you'll have to pay a little bit more. I don't think they have been speaking that much about that, but we'll see. I think there's also a Adobe Summit in Vegas happening. I don't know exactly when, but maybe they'll share a bit more information there. Remains to be seen.
Um, We got this comment here from Ariel. Researchers in China have developed a quantum processing chip that is 1 quadrillion times faster than the best supercomputers on the planet. Star guys. Um, I, I mean, I think we are getting in this popular tone for quantum computing. And always be careful with those benchmarks. I mean, even Google kind of did it earlier, where I forget what was the number that they mentioned, but those are usually for some form of workload that is primarily meant for quantum computing. So quantum computers and traditional computers are expected to do two different types of workloads. So it's kind of having like a hammer and a saw. Obviously, a hammer could probably cut a tree in some time, but it would be a lot faster for a saw to do it. So I wouldn't really think too much of quantum versus supercomputers. And I think we're still. Uh, I don't know how far, but I don't. GTC quantum event on Tuesday or Wednesday. Maybe we'll get a little bit more insight of where the quantum market is really at.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, way more announcements around quantum more recently than a year or so ago. But then again, it's all team based, right? It's every time the same thing. Like we hear nothing about a specific topic, and suddenly like one after the other, they all release the same thing, and then it's quiet for a long period of time. So we'll see. Stevie here asks or says, ask and says, apparently JP Morgan believes AMD's AI GPU will grow by 60% this year. And I mean, yeah, makes sense. I mean, that's the minimum, right?
That would be about an $8 billion
Yeah, exactly.
revenue run rate. I think that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I would be disappointed if it's not. if it's not eight, right? We go from beating $5 billion to just eight. I think they should be able to do a bit more than that. And remember, there were some analysts thinking that they would be generating $11 billion or so this year, so more than double. But yeah, 60% is definitely feasible.
Originally, Neil, I did not think they would be able to kind of reach those top expectations of about 10 to 11 billion because we did see some bullish cases on that. Um, but I want to say, I'm still not sure if it, but I believe the chances has increased with them pushing the MI 350 earlier. So uh, I think around 7 to 8 was kind of my normal with the MI 300, but now with the MI 325, but with the MI 350, and we heard kind of the good news from Oracle as well. I think we can maybe expect around 10 billion, hopefully.
I think 10 billion would be great. I think 10 billion would definitely push this stock much higher if we get that guidance, of course, which I said that we're going to get it for the second half of the year. They're going to provide us with guidance. We'll see. If it gets close to that 10 billion, I think it would be silly for them not to say it because that's a big number.
I agree. Let's see, what else do we have? I'm gonna agree with Marco. Quantum is still too far away and very speculative. But again, we're gonna have kind of that NVIDIA keynote where we're gonna have a lot of CEOs either fist fight or argue Jensen for his comments of 15 or 30 years away. So that's one of the keynotes I'm gonna really want to listen to.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's going to be quite interesting to see those quantum CEOs there after the comments that were made.
Let's see, Neil, any other questions here? We have another one um, from Marco. Neil, do you think, I think volatility will continue, right? I don't think we're, um, I think room, I do hope though, Neil, with the new CEO, we get more clarity on kind of these rumors. I think these rumors are creating even more volatility for Intel. And I wonder if it just doesn't get shut down because there's some truth behind it, but I want them to stop eventually. I can't go on every other week saying, "Oh, rumor this, rumor that, rumor this." I want that to stop for Intel, and I think that's going to be the most important thing, in my opinion, in forms of the huge volatility we're seeing for the stock.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Now that we have a CEO, I think it's all about certainties and not uncertainty. So where there is smoke, there is fire. So there's definitely something going on there on the foundry side of things. So we'll see. We'll see. I think in the next quarter or so we'll get more answers. Um, but yeah, we'll see. We have Micron earnings next week. It's going to be a good one, I think. Well, the quarter might not be the greatest one, but I think the comments and guidance will be quite good, and that's another important player in the whole AI semiconductor team. So it's going to be interesting to hear what they have to say. I've seen a couple of articles pop up that say that memory prices are continuing to go up. Um, should be good for Micron. Should be good for Micron.
Neil, do you know what day they're reporting?
1 week from today, so Thursday.
On Thursday. Okay. I was
Yeah.
going to say it would be pretty interesting if they release like something cool during GTC during the day they're reporting, because then they can obviously talk about it during the earnings. So I'm going to see if there's any correlations on Thursday. If GTC is still going on Thursday, if there's any Micron topics or discussions happening that day, I think that would be pretty cool to see if we might get any cool updates on HBM and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we might get some comment on the what is it G7 that they're using. So we'll see. Ariel, I know I have a bet, but I think I'll win it. So I'm not going to sell one single share of Intel or AMD. And by the way, if you lose, you have to become a member of our channels. So that's the deal. It's way cheaper for you to lose than for me to lose. So that's the new agreement here.
What's the bet you guys have, Neil?
He said he doesn't think AMD will be at 120 this year. I said it will, and if it doesn't, then I'll pay him one share of AMD.
Oh yeah, I remember that. We kind of talked about it too last. I mean, I think 120 is definitely doable by the end of this year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 20%, a bit more than 20% upside from today. If you get some good comments in the next earnings reports, easily.
Mm.
We got ourselves a new member of our channel.
Correlation between Intel and AMD. Why AMD tanked after Intel news? Did it really take a price hit, or is it more just the volatility? Because I see kind of like
Yeah.
AMD is down 2%, and then I see kind of other players like Broadcom down about 1%. You have kind of Apple down about 2%. So I don't know if, but Intel is up. Is it still up double digits? I don't think.
Yeah.
If
For
there
15.
is 15, yes, there is some correlation there. I think it's very, very minimal. I think right now it's more just market dependency and market volatility impacting AMD right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there is very little correlation in what's happening with the stock price right now because
Mhm.
clearly you can see on the screen that a lot of other things are red. So I wouldn't pay that much attention to it.
Yeah.
Let's see. We've got some comments here on SoFi, and yeah, we did get. Well, now it's officially announced. There was for that loan platform business that $5 billion deal with Blue Owl, I believe. So let me
Mhm.
just make sure that I read that correctly. Um, so it's basically this. They signed their largest loan business platform agreement to date, an up to $5 billion agreement with Blue Owl Capital managed funds. So this was already one that was announced before, but now it's officially announced, which is great. Great traction for that side of the business. And I know everybody's talking about the technology platform, blah, 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 because the loan platform business is under the financial services one. And we should be paying more attention to this than to the tech platform at the moment, because this is growing much faster and has higher margins. So this is very, very good. I don't know what the stock is doing today. So probably down, because why not? Yes, it's down 3.1%. So the market doesn't care much.
Let's see, what do we have here? We have Mark. He did get filled on AMD at 95, so he's gonna start learning to be less mean to it. It's okay. We don't mind if you're mean to AMD.
This is a good one. Advanced money dispenser.
Here we got public display. His get rich quick scheme: GitLab, Unity, AMD, TXG, AI, and Ethereum. I only know the first three and the last one. Not too familiar with TXG and AI. But I'm actually in. GitLab is one that I've been. I don't talk much about software space, but GitLab is one I'm increasing my position in. And Unity should be one that I should start soon again.
Yeah, so TXG is 10x genomics. Does sell well, right? If you say this is 10x, guess this is a good one. And AI, it's a C3 AI, I think. Yeah, yeah. It's the one that basically changes the name of the company every time there's a new trend. So already
Uh,
enough red flags there.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a company go public and call it 100x AI. I think that thing would be massive.
Quantum AI.
Yeah, quantum AI GPUs metaverse.
Now, metaverse would bring it down.
That would
Metaverse
bring
would
it
bring it
down.
down. Yeah, that's too much. Too much. Let's see.
Oh, Neil, I mean, you earlier kind of came back to me. You were talking about how we start to see a lot of topics around the same thing when back to back, and right now we're kind of seeing it in the quantum world. I think we're also seeing it in another space, the robotics world right now, Neil. So I mean, Nvidia earlier this year, I believe it was this year, that they announced kind of that Cosmo solution to help train foundational models in the robotic space. Then we ended up obviously Tesla talking about their AI robotic space. And I think we heard Meta about a month ago talk about some form of robotics LLM models and some of the updates. And just yesterday, we had Google released Gemini Robotics, which is kind of like a model for the robotic space. So, um, do you think this is very similar to quantum, Neil, where like everybody's talking about it, it's getting overhyped, or maybe a little bit different? Do you think it kind of showcases that maybe we're a little bit closer to robotics as we are seeing more players invest in it?
No, no, definitely the same. I mean, not exactly the same, but definitely the same when it comes to the teams, right? Suddenly, everybody comes out with a robotic solution, a humanoid robot, or whether it's software. But with robotics, I think we're going to see results way sooner than quantum. I mean, you look at some Chinese players, you look at Tesla's humanoid robot, you look at a company like Figure AI, for example. You can already see that these things exist now. Are they useful? Probably not yet. Probably not yet. Still have to make them at scale for an affordable price because I'm not buying a $50,000 humanoid robot. So we'll see. But there's definitely a team. There's definitely more and more announcements, which is great. It's exciting. But we'll see. I will see. I do expect an event from Tesla this year to show us a little bit more about their Optimus robot. Figure has been doing a lot of PR more recently, um, which is good. But then again, when you start to push it a little bit too much, raises some orange flags there as well. Especially since a lot of these videos are sped up. So we'll see. But it's exciting. It's exciting, that's for sure. Did you also see that announcement from Google with Gemma that they're
Yeah,
using one H100?
yeah, the Gemma open source. I did a video
Hmm.
yesterday, kind of talking about why cheap AI is literally what Jensen wants. Like, quote unquote, his hopes and dreams are that AI becomes so accessible that everybody's using it to kind of create these AI factories. So I was trying to see if hopefully they didn't create kind of a whole deep seek moment. But yeah, it was pretty impressive how Gemma was able to run in one H100, and they even compared it with some of the deep seek models that still require like multiple GPUs to run.
Yeah, I did a repost on X, and I said if this was a Chinese company, you could bet that the whole market would be down, but didn't really move the needle much. So yeah, it's quite exciting. And then, I mean, on the flip side, it's great. They used one H100 for that specific model, but they're still going to spend 60 plus, 70 plus billion dollars on capex. So if they could do everything with just one H100, I doubt they'll spend that much. The fact that
I
they're
would
still
buy
spending
all
that much.
Google.
Yeah, exactly.
Neil, so here, a question for you from Wildo. Uh, do you like AMD or SoFi better right now? I think from portfolio, SoFi is just such. Is SoFi a lot from the way you talk about it? Neil, I feel like SoFi is a big position,
Yeah, no,
and
it is.
AMD is more of
It's
like an entry position.
not anymore.
Uh,
Well, no, yeah, no, AMD. Yeah, as I make my way to 100 shares, yeah, it's still entry level, I would say.
or
But
I
I'd
mean,
like.
in forms of like, I guess weights from each other. I'm gonna guess SoFi is
Hmm.
a lot larger than
Yeah, I
than
mean,
AMD.
no, in the public portfolio, SoFi is, well, depending on the dates, it's number one there. But that's because I managed to get it. Well, it's $7, $8 or so, so it's up also. And AMD is a much newer position. Do I like? I don't like one more than the other. It's just two good companies that I think will go up in the future a lot. So I own both. I'd like more AMD, of course, especially under $100. So yeah, keep building those positions. Two different ones as well, right? One is fintech, the other one is semiconductor. So very very different.
Yeah, and I guess that's what's always so tricky when it comes to like companies in different markets is both can be good or both can have nice long term thesis, and it's just so hard to pick between them.
And that's why we picked both, or some others as well. Like you have multiple semiconductors, I have multiple semiconductor names, multiple fintech stocks as well. I'm fine with that. I'm fine.
Neo, here, I think you were talking. I think it might have been you. Talking about Axon. Any updates on this one? I personally haven't looked at it, but it is very popular stock, especially after like this massive sell off the stock I saw um in the past month or so.
Yeah. So
But still
year
do
to date, yeah,
yeah.
year to date only down 10%, but it's still up quite significantly in the last year, in the last 5 years as well. It's a great company, market cap $42 billion. Um, it's one This one, Intuitive Surgical, like we've said, is very interesting. They took a little hit stock wise, still on the expensive side, I would say, but very very good and interesting companies. Axon, of course, deals with more. I mean, the more violence, the better for them, which is quite strange things to say, but um, they basically help to make polices police people's lives easier, safer as well. And with AI, with drones and stuff like that, they can add even more products to their offerings. So I'm not really that surprised that in the last 5 years, this stock is up 750%, sadly enough. But great company. I am. It's on the watch list. This one's on the watch list. Intuitive Surgical is on the watch list, but for me to start opening now a new position in a new company, it would have to dip more.
Agree, Neil. So here we missed this one. Oh, not that's not the one I wanted. We'll talk probably that one later. But I think Thomas just shares some great knowledge. What is keeping me sane these days? Companies I'm invested in solid fundamentals and current market and the current market is based off consumer sentiments and other factors outside of the control. So pretty much that. Obviously, you kind of see the volatility like days like today. But in the long term, as long as you have strong fundamentals, you have good growth opportunities, you should be sane during days like today.
I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. There is this. This is a. I hate these questions. Like, if I had to pick one from PayPal and SoFi, which one would it be? Both of
Pick,
them
Neil,
are
pick.
yeah, pick. Both of them are quite up there. There is a huge disconnect with PayPal. Huge disconnect. SoFi is a smaller company, so you might say, oh, the upside is much bigger. But then again, the upside for PayPal is also super big because there is that huge disconnect. So very, very difficult to say. But since if we're just looking for market cap expansion, I would say probably SoFi, but I wouldn't sell either of them, to be honest.
And just a quick shout out. It seems like we are getting some new people coming in. I just want to shout out Martin, and I did see um, more people shout out coming in, Corey. So appreciate all the support here. Neil, I like this question here from PMAC. And I'm gonna guess we both have similar answers. But SoFi, AMD, Google, Meta, all down. Time to keep dollar cost averaging or sit and wait for the reversal. I feel like I personally don't like waiting for the reversal because sometimes that reversal can reverse like a rubber band pretty quickly. I'm personally more of like just a dollar cost average over time, especially during downturns. I tend to be a little bit more aggressive than I am during green days or green markets. So my style, I tend to dollar cost averaging. Is it the best? I don't know. It's the best that works for me. Neil, same or do you wait for a rehearsal? And I don't think there's a wrong answer. I think everybody just
Mhm.
needs to find what better, works best for them.
Yeah, no, I agree. It depends. Also depends on the names. I would say, like, you can wait for a reversal from the business, maybe. Like, if you're looking for a specific metric that has continued to come down, you don't really want to add until that changes. That's fine. With these specific names, SoFi, AMD, Google, Meta, I have zero issues adding when it's red. Like, if I like the value today or tomorrow or whatnot, I'll buy it. I don't have to wait to see that, oh, there is now a green day. Because as we've seen the last week or so, there are green days. That doesn't mean that we're going to see a reversal. But during those green days, the stocks suddenly jump. But then we're red the day after that. So with quality names, I'd say I don't care. I DCA. With other stocks that maybe have business issues, that's maybe when I'll start waiting for a reversal. But other than that, no, I'm good with DCA.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, right on those names, except SoFi, I don't follow. But I agree. Maybe if it was a more speculative play, I think that would be a whole different answer on my thoughts.
This is a good one. How would you go about building a portfolio from scratch? How many stocks as a starting position, and when to increase position versus when to add new positions, etc.? Very
Neil,
good question.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like I hate to say this, but it's all through experience. Um, I've gone through those ropes where I've been investing in one or two companies in my portfolio. I've gone through times where I've invested in like 50 positions. I've gone through now, and all of those have been lessons. Maybe I'm not the type to only hold one or two positions, but I'm definitely not the type to want to hold 50 positions. And everybody will kind of find difference. I think it's starting off. The first thing I would say is ETFs are important. ETFs are boring, but they are probably going to be your safer play as you make mistakes, because you're going to make mistakes, Dango. You're not, I'm going to tell you this 100%, you're going to make mistakes. There's going to be trades that you're going to lose money and you're going to think you suck. Investing in boring ETFs, index funds, is at least something I would say you can't go wrong with right now. Um, in the long term. In the short term, volatility can make everything look wrong. But I think to experience, you end up finding what's the best thing. But ETFs, and start to follow maybe one or two company that you want to own, learn a little bit about their financials. Don't think about a magic number. Just take your time. I mean, right now you have no positions. I'm guessing if you're just starting off. So going from one position and then from one to two, you're already increasing by 100% in position sizings. Then going from two to four, you're doing another 100%. So you're starting from nothing. It's okay if you ease your way in here.
Yeah. Plus, I guess it also depends how much you're putting in the portfolio, right? If it's a portfolio of $1,000, 10,000, 100,000, depends. If you're starting with 1,000, then in my eyes, it wouldn't make much sense to open up multiple positions. 10,000, you can start maybe with a couple. 100, even more flexibility. So it really depends also on, for me, on the amount that you have in your portfolio. And yeah, start small. Like Jose said, you're going to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. At least you make mistakes at the start. It's just the price of admission to the investing journey. And you learn along the way. How many stocks at the starting position? Well, again, depends on what you're interested in, how much you're willing to invest at the start, and when to increase. I know a lot of people think you can only increase when the stocks go down, but I think you can increase when stocks go up as well, as the business continues to perform very well. And to add new positions, that's to be honest, that's personal opinion. Um, right now, with the amount of companies I own, to add a new one, it really has to be a great one, or one that will replace a company in my portfolio. That's basically it. So it's opinion. It's subjective. There's no like one specific answer to how you should invest, how you should build a portfolio, etc., etc. There are some guidelines, but at the end of the day, it's really up to you.
I want to take this question here from Public Display. AMT diluted 30% of the stocks in 2020, and from 1 billion to 1.3 billion shares total this bear market. Will try your soul. I want to say it's also important to kind of include into that public display that it was due to a massive acquisition of Xilinx. And I do believe in the normal market, even with that dilution of shares, you still saw an incremental in earnings per share, which in my opinion is a better story. Obviously, if you see dilution of shares and a dilution of earnings per share, that is a no-no. I think if you see an increase in dilution shares, but an incremental in earnings per share, I personally would think that's an okay. Obviously, right now with the down cycle, though, now you have kind of an added market. So earnings per shares are kind of a little bit lower because of that added tailwind from the new industry. But when kind of their Siling stuff, which the embedded market, I do believe will pick back up, and they've talked about it, that at least is going to get stronger. I think you're going to continue to see kind of that incremental earnings per share versus prior to the acquisition.
Yeah, no, well said. Plus, now they're generating more and more free cash flow, which will allow them to buy back more shares, which should fix that dilution issue in the future. If you look at free cash flow in the past, really not that stable, and now we're getting in the billions of dollars each and every year. I would see them increase their buybacks in the future, which will definitely help with that for sure.
And Matthew kind of just took many years to develop my style. There's not my best style, and it's just gonna be yours. I agree. Everybody has a different style, Matthew, and you're gonna go phases where you're gonna read one book and you feel like you become the PE master and all you care is PE. Then you're gonna read 100 bagger and you're gonna think that everything that matters is just betting on a stock that's gonna be ultimate growth. Eventually, all those books that you read, all those investors that you read, you're gonna find what works for you. But I feel like every investor goes through these phases where PE is the greatest thing on earth. PE sucks. It's all about P price to sales ratio. It's all about growth. It's all about 50 positions. It's all about 100 positions. It's all about two positions. So you're going to go through these phases and eventually you'll find the one that works for you.
But PE sucks. PE does suck. um, do you follow any of those companies? Roblox, Open Door, Mobileye? Maybe Mobileye a little bit more because it's an Intel company, but also publicly traded.
On like a bottom level, on the top level, I do follow. I think we both understand Roblox. Mobileye, very similar on the top level. Like I understand they're working a lot in kind of like the automotive market. Um, I think the autonomous driving solutions that they have could um, be useful. But outside of that, I don't know too much about them. I don't follow their finances or any recent projects. But top level, the market that they're in definitely has growth opportunities, at least for Mobileye.
And Open Door?
Nope, left that one closed.
Yeah, close the door. Yeah, same here. Like Roblox, I think we know what they do, but I don't really follow the company that closely. Mobileye, I hold Intel, so if Mobileye does well, they'll do well. And I think with the partnerships, we should be seeing more and more things in 2026, 2027. Open Door, I guess we have to wait for a revival in the housing market in the United States to see some movements. I know there's Zillow as well. I know Redfin got acquired more recently, so we'll see. It's not something I'm looking at, those names. Well, other than Mobileye, just because of Intel, but I think I'm looking at these names more. Matthew here saying, would love to see you guys debate Amazon and Google. You guys pick different Magnificent Seven stocks if you had to pick one and hold. I'm bullish on both, but want to see what people think are the downsides. I own both. Jose, you own Amazon?
No, I don't. But not for, I don't know why. I recently I've been just thinking about the idea of adding to it, but I just really like Google at these levels.
No, fair enough. Why did you decide to pick Google over Amazon at the start?
At this, I think originally, Neil, when I had Google and Amazon, Google, I was really focusing more on Google for the advertisement platform, and I like that a lot more. And I think during the time, Amazon always trades at a heavy valuation. So, and then eventually, Neil, it's like to me, the only thing that really matters is the cloud market. And I already had kind of some other players in the cloud space. So I was like, hey, look, Amazon is just going to add more to that exposure of the cloud space. So right now, again, I feel like it looks attractive, but I think the markets I'm pretty excited about are the cloud. And it's like, what more benefit can I get from getting Amazon? If that's my bullish thoughts, if obviously maybe if my bullish thoughts were the e-commerce market, then obviously Amazon would be the case. But if my bullish thoughts right now are just overall growth in cloud infrastructure, in cloud market share, I think no, any of the other players can give me similar stock returns on that.
Okay, so of course you're picking the Google side of things. I think I said in the last episode I'm taking Amazon for the next 10 years as a buy and hold, just because of the overall business and the strength of Amazon and the Prime subscription. I think just an amazing company. So yeah, I'm bullish on both. Amazon is my second largest position. If things continue with Tesla on the way down, it might become the number one. Who knows? But yeah, two great companies.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't like if someone was to put a tell me, hey, you have to invest, put me in gunpoint, a random extreme scenario, and say you had to invest in Amazon. I really wouldn't care. Or if they just tell me, hey, I'll give you $100 if you invest on Amazon for the next year. I think Amazon's a great company. I wouldn't. I feel like my money would accredit or build over time. I don't really have a bullish case on Amazon. It was just more just my overall exposure to cloud computing, cloud compute, and cloud infrastructure. I already have that exposure. So why just add another on the list if I feel they're going to give me similar returns?
No, fair enough. I do want to touch really quick on this one from Jags. For someone starting position in Chinese, I don't know how you say this in Chinese, but okay. What would be a good stock ETF to consider? So I have this list right here. You have Tencent, Neo, if you like the card, you can do BYD as well. KWEB ticker symbol is Korean shares. That's basically an ETF where you have exposure to the multiple Chinese names. Then you have more individuals. You have Baidu, Pinduoduo, JD, and Alibaba. Me personally, I own just Alibaba. I did own Pinduoduo before, but starting with these names, I think you will be making your choice pretty quickly. This is an ETF that basically covers all of them, if not most of them. So start off with that, I would say.
All right, Neil. I hear my little one next door waking up from his nap, and I think he knows it's 1:30. So appreciate the stream, guys. Appreciate the support from everybody here. And we'll be back on. I don't know, Neil. Actually, I don't know if I'll be back on Tuesday.
You don't know?
GTC, depending on when they do it, it might be a pre-GTC stream then. But I think the keynote is going to be happening during then. Who knows? I mean, depending on if you have time, maybe we can just do
the main.
I think the keynote. Let me see. GTC keynote. I thought it was at 10 a.m. Yeah, it's at March 18th at 10 a.m. Which is about 1 o'clock. I think 1 Eastern time. I think
it is. Yeah, it is indeed 1 o'clock.
So I don't know if you want to just do kind of we can just stream that if you want to do that. Obviously, we're planning here live, and maybe we can discuss it out of live. But
no, we can do that. We can even start like a little bit earlier for a Q&A or something, and then since that starts at 1 your time, so half an hour later than when we usually start.
I think that sounds fun.
Voila.
All right.
Exclusive.
Exclusive how we go behind the scenes of planning shows.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all for joining. Hopefully by next week we are going green. Things will be better. I promise you this, in the future you won't even remember what has happened in the last couple